Alrighty. Good evening. Hi, my name is Robert C. Ayala. I'm a real Democrat running for the Democratic nomination to stop the campaigns of Joe Biden, Donald Trump, or any candidate telling us how to live, what to ingest, or how to look. Enough is enough. This stream is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9:15 until. I think I'm gonna push it to 9:30 to give a little bit of more time to myself. The days have been going a little bit crazy here. A lot of things going on. And before I get started tonight, what I wanted to do was just make sure everybody could see my shirt here. And One Love, Castaways. One Love, Castaways. And why I bring this up is because we really didn't talk, or I didn't talk, about the heroin addiction that engulfed America, and the Supreme Court blocked the $6 billion settlement with the Sackler family. And the reason I wanted to wear this shirt is because people in Cape Cod, Massachusetts will know about Castaways in Eastham, Massachusetts. And it was a great shop here. I'd like to show it to you. Where did she go? Right there. And, the Google reviews, these folks, this business was a father that handed it down to his daughter. And today, if you go there, you will not see Castaways. What you will see is housing now. And it's just the story of the epidemic relative to the heroin. The primary owner, her name was Sarah. I don't say I knew her. I knew her only in the sense that when we went to Cape Cod, which was pretty much every summer, we would stop to say hello and rent things from them. And so, as anyone will tell you as you go to Cape Cod, that you get to know people. And so it's not improper to say you know them, but you don't really have a relationship with them. And she was a wonderful person, but she succumbed to her addiction. And so that's why there's housing now, because, her addiction overtook her life. And so when you go and take the time to look at the Sackler Supreme Court blocking of that, I don't have a viewpoint on whether they should block it or whether they should not block it, because it's like all drugs in America. The people at the top, they make all the benefits and they reap all the rewards, and the people at the bottom are the ones that go to jail, and the users are the ones that suffer, and the addicts are the ones that destroy not only their own lives but their families' lives. And I think it's important not that we look at why the Supreme Court blocked this particular settlement, but the fact that drugs and big pharma as a whole seems to have a lock on America. And it's just one of those things that we have to ask ourselves as a country, do we want to be really taking all these pills? Is the risk worth the reward? Is being unhealthy, being addicted to these types of painkillers that just have so much controlled substances in them that they're not really killing pain by virtue of killing the pain, they're just putting you in such a comatose state that you don't feel pain, and hence that's where these addictions come from. And so I don't have the answers on this. I know that some of the towns in America that had populations that were very small had pill counts that exceeded, just defied rational logic for that population relative to how much the pills, the opiates were for that town. And so it's just not just the Sacklers, it's the doctors involved in all the prescribing when they know the prescriptions are dwindled and that they just wrote one 2 weeks ago. I think that's where the real accountability failed to come. And, so what you're really doing is just picking one target, which is a family. They happen to be the largest. I think they hold the copyright on Oxy. I'm not sure what copyright, but I think they own one of them. And so since they were smart enough to figure this drug out and create the medicine for us, but since we as a society abused it and our doctors gave it to us because we kept asking for it, and even though there was a lot of deaths and harm and distribution by name brand pharmacies in this country that, again, exceeded population count, sometimes by 2, 3, 4 fold, is just amazing. So maybe the Supreme Court is going to block this, and I haven't read the article. To me, it's not. It's mute because it's going to get kicked back, and it's going to go to hearing, and it might be another 20 years before this is resolved. But in my initial concept of fairness, it just seems like because the Sacklers have the biggest pockets, they're the one that are going to suffer, while everybody else who was just as contributory to the overall opiate addiction washes their hands with no accountability. And I'm just not for that. I don't think that's a free America. Free America is we're all in this together. We all have the same accountability. And so that's it. That's why, again, just to remember all you people in Cape Cod, East Ham, one love, castaways, to Sarah and her family. And it's a beautiful place up there, folks. If you can get up there, that's a beautiful place to visit. I want to just jump over to the stream for a minute. It's wonderful. Google's never going to give me no love. So as we all know today, another Trump prosecution. And whatever. This is the Banana Republic. I'm not going to keep saying how much I oppose this, and that Joe Biden is just scared. He's scared of beating Trump on his own. So the whole system of the government, like Russia, and again, there's never been a president ever in all of its history, and I'll say it one last final time, Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, is in fact president. Seems like everything worked out just fine, right? We just never had somebody who took it as far as Trump before, but we've been here before. Al Gore and George W. I mean, that went right up to the Supreme Court, right? Nobody was going back and, saying, Al Gore, you're a traitor because you challenged George W.'s right to the election. Nobody was saying that. They were egging on Al Gore all day long. Go get him. It's election fraud. It's election fraud. It's election fraud. If people remember history, and that's one of the good things about me, is I remember history, because one of the things is I think what happens, no victim here, but when you realize in life that, hey, maybe you weren't forgotten, you just were never known to be known by anybody, then it provides a different insight to you. And it just seems like in the big spectrum here, if the American people want Donald Trump to go away, they will defeat him at the ballot box. And the other thing that just keeps bothering me, and I know, I might get the Uncle Tom shit too, and I say that, but it just seems weird to me that it's just black prosecutors. I mean, other than the guy from D.C. that Biden appointed, Jack Shapiro, whatever his name is, from New York City to Georgia, it's almost like one of those things. If I call it, I don't think we should be here, and if we're here and then it falls out, which because it shouldn't have been brought to begin with, then I feel like it hurts the cause of black people, because the people bringing the charges on the initial face are in fact black. D.A. Braggs and Fannie Willis, and again, Donald Trump is not the president. Joe Biden is. So I just, the legal wrangling starts now, and I think at the end of the day, the Supreme Court is going to jump in, and they're going to set all this aside until after the election. And again, chief of staff, lawyers, we all know Rudy Giuliani was out there making noise. We saw his press conference outside the mechanic's garage. It was hilarious. But again, Joe Biden's president. And so the reality is the law gives, just like it gives cops, it gives politicians, for the most part, qualified immunity. And Chief of Staff Mark Meadows is seeking to move his case to federal court. And if one goes to federal court, then they all are going to argue the same standing to go to federal court. And if one knocks it down, because what Meadows is arguing is that he has immunity because he, in fact, was President Donald Trump's chief of staff, exercising upon the president's will, right or wrong. That's what his role is. That's what he's hired for. I mean, I don't think you're a chief of staff because you don't listen to the president. I don't think you'd be the president's chief of staff going forward anymore. But one more time, it's just silly stuff, folks. And it should just go to show everybody that the Democrats need a primary. We need a real primary with lots of candidates, with lots of ideas. And I'm the only candidate espousing freedom, right? I don't want to tell you what to do. I don't want to tell you what jabs to take. I don't want to tell you who you should be, what you should look like. And I sure don't want to tell women what you should do with your body. So I think in the overall picture of things, that if a candidate has the ability to go out there and fight the good fight, and I say lately to everyone, only a New Yorker can take out a New Yorker. Donald Trump, whatever. I don't know if people are scared of him. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're scared of his base. But just as I say that 49% of the country is Donald Trump's base, the other half is not Donald Trump's base. So we can raise more numbers and we can beat at the poll, but nobody's going to run to the polls for Slow-Mo Joe. Nobody's going to run to the polls for Kamala Harris. Nobody's going to run to the polls for Gavin Newsom. It's time for a new set of younger candidates to come to the table, bring their ideas to the table, and let the American people have the decision on what they want going forward. And for some reason, like, again, the moving of the Democratic primary to South Carolina state that has, in the last 50 years, has not voted for a Democratic president. Didn't vote for Joe Biden, didn't vote for Obama, of all people. Didn't vote for Obama, didn't vote for Clinton, right? Last 50 years. And Joe does that because he believes the black vote through Rep. Clyburn is monolithic. And that's unfair. And that's not right to go out there and believe that you should just grab it. Maybe black people were scared of Trump the last time, but I don't think anyone's scared of Trump anymore. What we need is ideas that help put more money and jobs and ideas so that everybody has the same success. The billionaire class is always going to be the billionaire class. We're not going to do anything to change that. So Meadows is moving his to federal court. Who knows where that'll go? It just seems ridiculous. And then we come over to good old Biden. Apparently doesn't know for 4 days. I don't think, honestly, that I talked about Hawaii when it was burning, and I don't feel it should be politicized. I don't think it's one of those things. A lot of people died going into the ocean. Homes are destroyed. But I think it is a little bit silly when you're the president of the United States that you can go for so long without saying anything. There was no comments by me to chide the president or anybody, including Donald Trump, including Ron DeSantis, including Chris Christie, including nearly every single Republican candidate that had nothing to say about it on the night of the fire. But I did, and my heart and prayers went out with those folks, but nobody else has the ability to do that because they don't think about you no more. They don't really give a crap about us. And that's why it's time for the whole system to not be turned over, but just for the next generation of leaders to move forward. So 4 days, he doesn't want to go, and now he wants to go down there. I would just say to him, he probably shouldn't go. I never understood that. You have a national emergency, you have levees flooding, you have homes destroyed, you have people crying, and you bring all that pomp and flair. What I would do is I would just send the military, activate FEMA through the military. I'd have at least one aircraft carrier off the coast of Maui, get some Marines there, some service personnel, get some water, get some food. That would be the wise thing to do. But Biden going there with his motorade or whatever you want to call it, and Marine Force One and all his planes, it's not going to do anything to alleviate the suffering of the people of Hawaii. So you snoozed a little bit. Slow-mo Joe snoozed a little bit. But at the end of the day, I just don't think it's appropriate for you to go to Hawaii at this time. Let them get fixed up. Let them get the needs that they need, and then people can go from there. All right, so Biden's little gaffe. Oh, here's another funny one, and I think this is just the one on Law and Order. Workers in San Francisco, Nancy Pelosi's federal building, told to stay home due to crime. August 15th, 2023, federal workers in the downtown building were advised to work from home indefinitely. They're not even telling you when you're going to come back. Indefinitely, because of crime in the area. And there's no need to celebrate lawlessness, but Nancy Pelosi should be ashamed. And she should do something to help the Democrats have a primary so that maybe we could talk about these law and order concerns. Because I think some people are bundling everybody up into one position monolithically and saying, well, because this one person was aggrieved 30 years ago by X, then we should make sure that nobody else has any issues. And I don't think that's what the community's ever been asking for. I think the community wants to be safe just as much as everybody else. They want to walk around their neighborhoods at nighttime, and they don't want to be scared. So, and then finally, at the end of the day, today, August 15th, that's all they can say is that Trump's indictment might be hurting him, just not in the primary polls. And that's their only saving grace. And I kind of believe it too. But if Joe Biden is going to be the candidate and Kamala Harris is going to be one laughing at every real issue that concerns you and me, then the reality is Trump is probably going to be the next president, and you should be prepared to welcome him back into your home. I look for a different day, and I would like a nice Democratic primary, and I want the world to help me. But if we don't all get behind this together, then Joe gets what he wants, which is a defeat in 2024 and Donald J. Trump as the 47th president. My name is Robert C. Ayala. I'm a real Democrat running for the Democratic nomination to stop the campaigns of Joe Biden, Donald Trump, or any candidate telling us how to live, what to ingest, or how to look. Enough is enough. I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 9:30. I'm going to do 9:30 tomorrow night, and thanks for stopping by, and thanks if you watch this on YouTube. Have a great night.